We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who shares with us.
I'm joined here by my co-host and recording artist, Lolita Robinson.
How are you at Coppage? You keep forgetting Coppage, too.
Lolita Robinson, Coppage. And our guest co-host today, Patrice. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
And we have Zaylee down there, too, who's
my
inspiration.
baby.
That's
right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being a part of the joy that we have in our house. So if you're just listening to us right now, know that you can stream us live on any mobile device. Just go to www.latalklive.com. You can also stream us on the Ustream app. Download it for free. We're also on iTunes, genre R&B, and you can find us on our network's website as well.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Joy in My House. We have a great in-studio guest right now. That's also going to be speaking to us. But Patrice, you're guest co-hosting today because your fiance was on last week's show.
Yes.
Ralph Nader, who put on a great interview.
Yes, he did.
And a great performance at the Oscar viewing party at the Warner Brothers Estate for Children Uniting Nations.
Yes. That was actually our second time interacting with Children Uniting Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Our first time was at the Day of the Child.
Yes.
And that was a awesome event as well. I love working with kids, and he loves working with kids. He wants to, open up a program for children, trying to give them an entertainment outlet, kind of let them express their artistic styles. So,
well, he is the founder of BYOS 1191, which is a performing arts and entertainment company.
Yes.
And they have apparel as well.
Yes, they do. The apparel store is byos.pepwear.com. We have new apparel up right now. Actually, our web store just came up about 2 weeks ago. So
2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Cool. Do you guys do the designing yourselves, or?
Kind of. I guess you can say we do. We kind of collaborate with Pepwear, so it's a mix and match.
Cool.
Yes.
Because Ralph Nader, he's a percussionist, and I had the opportunity to see him for the first time.
Yes.
I know Van got to see him at one of these events
local
last year, but having had the opportunity to have him rock out, he's a whole different level. Because he was talking about not being like the movie. What was the popular movie with the drummer?
Drumline.
Drumline was interesting, and it was good.
We're not ditching it.
But he just knocked it out of the park.
Yes. He takes marching, percussion, entertainment, our performing style, and he does a collaboration with the both. And then he just does it for fun. That's his passion. That's his heart. So
it's different than like just like drum lining.
Yes.
Like to a just a line stuff. It's
like a marching line, right?
Yeah,
yes.
It's different. Okay.
It's just he does what he feels.
All right.
So like he had a performance last night. He just freestyled the whole thing. So
oh my goodness.
But he's traveled around the world performing,
he
so he has the experience.
Now he's playing the percussions, right? And also so when you say that he's doing the percussions and
he was snare drumming as well as he dances.
With the snare drum.
With the snare drum.
See, that's what I'm trying
Okay,
see, now you guys
it was
to
a great
clarify
show.
this.
It was a great show. But you're here, Patrice, on a different occasion because you also are part of a great organization.
Yes.
You're actually the LA event coordinator for Party. PARTI, which stands for Positive Alternative Recreation Team Building Impact Program.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this organization.
This organization was founded from the Bay Area. The director's name is Winston Ashby. And I actually first was introduced to this program last year around April because I was looking for different outlets, different performances for Ralph to perform. And so I got connected with this program. They had their annual Stop the Violence Anti-Bullying event at Cal State University Northridge, and I am a former student of CSUN.
Oh, okay.
So I always kind of stay in connection with some of the certain events. So we performed, and then I got started with another organization, ironically, known as Kids Unlimited. And she was saying, the director of that program was asking me, do I have any connections with anybody? How can we kind of get our program up and running? I said, well, I know this organization party program, and I believe the director really liked us, liked Ralph, liked me, and, so I reached out to him. And then as soon as I started reaching out to him, we started just going off onto the left side and started talking about the program for this year for party program. So he kind of deemed me the LA event coordinator.
That's so
cool. Good for you.
And it's my first time. It's a learning experience, but I love working with kids. So
you're bringing in other talent also.
Yes, we have singers, dancers, fashion show, art. It's called Positive Alternative Recreation Team Building Impact Program.
That's
so
awesome.
It just gives a alternative positive outlet for the students, high school students.
The mission statement is the mission is to raise funds to send students to leadership workshops to develop strong understanding of how to lead and to make a positive impact in the world.
Yes, in the world, in their communities. We teach them how to kind of do the behind the scenes work of event organizing, planning, team building, hence the name of the program. And it's a good outlet for them. They really enjoy working with this program.
So do you go to all the high schools around in
Los
Angeles?
That's what that's our goal.
Okay.
We're working on branching the program from the Bay Area down to LA so we can do our span of California.
And let's talk about that, because you have a great fashion and art mixer March 7th. Tell us a little bit about that event.
So we have a fashion art mixer March 7th, which is this Saturday coming up, 6 to 9:30. The party program is partnering with the organization known as Art Is My Drug. No, it's not a drug substance.
It's beautiful.
It's more or less being addicted to art, being addicted to your passion and your soul. So if you're addicted to fashion, if you're addicted to music, that's what Art Is My Drug stands for. Mm-hmm. So our two organizations partnered together, and we are hosting a fashion show at Exact Science Art Gallery at 7565 Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles, California, 6 to 9:30. We have 5 great, wonderful designers, and we have 3 wonderful performances that are going to be in between each set. So
that's going to be
looking forward to it.
If they want to find more information, is there a website or somewhere they can go and find more information?
Well, if you want to find more information, we're all over. Well, we're blasting our flyers all over Instagram. Look for artists. You can go to @ArtIsMyDrug, or you can go to @PartyProgram, or my personal Instagram is @ITSPATTYRICE_.
You two ought to be. You guys are. I mean, how you guys come up with all these numbers and tweets, and it's awesome.
Well, it's a lobby, and I'm going to go again. Thank you for joining us. This is Joy in My House, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to find us on Facebook /Joy in My House. If you become a fan, like the fan page, you receive up-to-date lineups of guests and information. You can also find us on Twitter.com, and you can also find us on Instagram. That'll be launching this week.
Yay.
We'll have an Instagram page that people can follow us as well. I'm loading up the flyers, and I'm going to send it up. Know that all our shows here are archived at the studio's website on www.latalklive.com. Just click on shows, click on Joy in My House, and watch all of our archive episodes. And you're not going to want to miss today. We got Flash Gordon.
Yay.
His name is not Flash Gordon, even though most people know him as Flash Gordon. His Sam J. Jones. He's a humanitarian and actor, best known as Flash. And on the #1 R-rated comedy TED, you're not going to want to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. Yes. We're going to be right back. I want you to stay tuned. Hello, I'm Joel Ramierz.
And I'm Lolita Robinson Coppage, and welcome to Joy in My House
on LATalkLive.com. Inspirational radio
with a touch of recovery.
A reality show where nothing is left unsaid
and no one is insignificant who says it.
Exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, I'm Ro Williams, and I would like to invite you to join GospelRhythms.com live every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our new show, Gospel Rhythms Talk Live. Join us as we celebrate, promote, and elevate Christians in entertainment. So don't forget to tune in to Gospel Rhythms Talk Live exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio under R&B or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is Gospel Rhythms on LA Talk Live, where we don't just talk about it, we are about it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show. I'm joined here by my co-host, Lolita Robinson Coppage.
There you go.
And author of Shaped by the Master's Hand.
And how are you today? We didn't get
Very
to check
good.
in, but we've an exciting day, so let's go.
And our in-studio guest, Sam J. Jones. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
If you don't know who Sam is, you should. He is Flash Gordon.
That is so
Now, that is
awesome.
such a cult movie and
Yeah.
amazing followers that are very loyal to
Yes.
Flash.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for having me.
I always like to let our audience and viewers know how we met. We met through one of our program directors here, Paul Obel. He sits on
Yes.
the board as well. He referred me to you and said, you got to have this guy on the show. He has a great story, and he's doing a lot of great things right now. So thank you again.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. Do you go down to Comic-Con?
I do. I mean, San Diego is probably the largest in the world. I think 150,000 last year.
Wow.
Have you been before?
No, I haven't. I want to go.
Well, you have to walk sideways.
You do have to get in,
I'm
huh?
serious.
Do you have to be invited by someone to?
Well, if you want to sign or as a guest, yeah, you have to be invited.
Okay.
I've been twice, I think, in the 9 years that I've lived in San Diego.
Okay.
Wow.
But I enjoy it. I enjoy just to sneak in at times.
Oh, I thought that people would
walk
want
it.
to see you as Flash Gordon. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, at times. I mean, it all depends. Yeah, I've actually this year I'm doing quite a few personal appearances all over the world. And excited about that. But yeah, Comic-Con is it's its own little entity. I should say, huge entity.
Huge now, yes.
And really, if you haven't, and they really put so much money into it. I think the people go there, for instance, Mattel, they'll spend hundreds of thousands just on their displays.
Yes, on marketing.
It's really
and promotion.
remarkable. It really is. You have to go if you haven't been.
I want to go.
Well, if you go, the city is
Do you go?
overwhelmed.
Have you been?
I went for opening day at the horse races.
Okay.
And it just so happened that it was the same weekend for Comic-Con.
All right.
And I was wondering why my hotel was so expensive.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
okay,
right.
they
Now I know
pumped up
why.
everything.
Yes,
Okay.
I stayed at the
All
Keaton
right.
Hotel, which is a really nice hotel, and the price was astronomical.
All right.
But I do want people to get to know you, Sam, get to know your story. The more you're able to share your life's challenges, I think the more our audience and viewers, the more we can relate to
Yeah.
you. So we're going to start off by, where'd you grow up? I know that you were born in Chicago, but where were you
Yay,
raised?
Chicago.
Yeah.
So am I.
Oh, you like Chicago?
I'm
yeah.
born from Chicago.
That's right. And you were raised in Chicago as well?
No, I want to hear your story. I'll throw
Well,
it
no,
in.
my dad was Army, and funny enough, I was born at the Great Lakes Naval Hospital. So
Wow.
maybe they were full in the military, in the Army hospital, but that's where I was born,
Wow.
in the Naval Hospital. And then I think he was relocated 4 months later. So
Okay,
I was an infant.
Chicago. Okay.
And I did go back. Actually, I went back a few years ago when Mancow, the famous radio
Yes.
Oh,
host,
yeah.
had a show. I did his show, which was
What was that like? I
it was
understand
crazy.
I bet.
Here we are
He says
sitting. He's in the
anything.
middle
He
over
says
here,
anything.
right?
Yeah.
And all the guests are sitting in a circle, each with a mic 14 mics,
Wow.
14 guests.
What?
When he goes to ask a question, he'll point to you. If you can't come up with an answer in 1/100th of a second, he'll point to somebody else. But anyway, it was remarkable.
Oh my
But yeah,
goodness! So you know how to do an interview then?
Yeah, well, yeah, but that was
You're talking about
really something.
ad-libbing.
But that was fun. But yeah, it was good to go back to Chicago. But yeah, I was raised went on to Southern Florida, Tennessee. I went overseas as my dad was in the Army, and then but my memorable years, probably elementary school was West Palm Beach, Florida. And then 4 years of high school in Sacramento.
Oh,
Israel.
wow. You had quite
and then from there, I went back east. I joined the Marine Corps
wow.
at the age of 17.
Well, you
yeah.
look. I wanted
well, let's talk about growing up. Were you a church-going family?
We were. We were Methodist.
Okay.
And nothing wrong with Methodist, but I know for a fact now at my age, my parents didn't really have a living relationship with the Lord.
Right.
It was more, let's put suits on the little boys and let's sit up straight and act religious.
Right.
And then when we all went back home, let's continue arguing and acting like heathens. It was wow.
It's not funny, but it's
as
the
I
truth.
got
You
older,
said it, yeah.
as I got older, I sort of turned away from the church and.
Was it hard being in the military? Also having all that traveling around.
Yeah, my dad was Army for 8 years, so I mean that was the early years from even before I was born. So I think just the last couple years, I think maybe when I was 3, he was out of the Army.
Oh, okay.
He was out.
So there wasn't a whole lot of different schools and a lot of like a lot of people go through.
But we did move around quite a bit in those early years. But primarily again, elementary West Palm Beach and high school Sacramento, and we were pretty.
Well, let's talk about those times. Did you face any challenges growing up?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think with any young man, I was just, what was I? I was fun to be around, I'm sure. I was the blunt of all jokes.
Really?
I had a bit of not a bit, I had a very heavy lisp when I talked.
Really?
So they all kind of made fun of me. But I thought, wow, at least they're talking about me.
Well, that's a good way of putting it. Were you taller? Because you're
I was a bit clumsy. It took a while until my coordination caught up.
See how God turns things around.
Yeah, but I had something very unique happen to me when I joined the Marine Corps. Well, I was about to join the Marine Corps. This other young man, my age, Kurt Smith, heard I was going in the military, and he said, "Hey, I heard you joined the Marine Corps. Would you like to receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior?" Wow. I thought I was taken back by his courage to even ask that. I mean, no other 17-year-old young man would ask another 17-year-old young man.
Those are such
formative
formative
talk about
years.
Sports and girls,
right.
But to say, do you want the Lord Jesus to be your Savior? I thought, well, tell me about it. He told me about it. I said, yeah, I'd like to do that. So I prayed the sinner's prayer, and I was saved at the age of 17.
Oh, wow.
But really didn't start serving the Lord until probably 1990.
There you go.
1990, 91.
There you go. Very well said. A lot of people don't realize that. You think when you receive the Lord, it just happens, but you grow into it. Did you have any idea when I received the Lord at 19? I don't know what I did. I just said, okay.
Yeah, well, he explained it to me, and I knew, I want to serve a living God. This is great, and knowing that I'm going to heaven. But if you're not reading the Word, you continue in the same old thing. And I know I was into habitual sin for many, many years. Now I believe that I was forgiven because Hebrews is very clear about it. Once you've tasted the heavenly gifts, once you know that it's impossible to come back to the Lord. Because it's like taking Jesus and saying, okay, get back up on the cross and die for me again. So when I was in my habitual sin, even through Hollywood, I really believed in my heart, because I wasn't in the Word, that if I asked the Lord for forgiveness, that I was forgiven. Right. But see, once you start reading the Word and you say, oh, you can't. Now if there's something like road rage and you snap and you flip somebody off and you say the wrong thing, well, you can be forgiven of that. It's not premeditated sin. It's not planned. But once you premeditate and you're into a habitual sin, I believe it's real hard. I mean, God is a God of grace and mercy. Come on.
Well, you have to grow into Him also.
Yeah, but once I realized, I got to get out of this stuff. And then even when I realized that, I said, well, I don't really care about me. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. But then I read it was very clear in the Word that okay, if that your children are covered, they're under His blood, under His protection, as long as there's one believing parent in the house. I thought, well, let me see. I'm going through. The wife isn't at the time. We're splitting, and I'm doing my own thing out there. And in the act of that sin, wait a minute, you're not in communion with God. So wait a minute, that means my children are not covered. I said, well, let me re-examine this. So then I said, okay, I've got to stop. I've got to stop because it's my children.
You think maybe there was a grandmother or somebody in your past or in your family?
There were some strong female influences, older women. I think when I was even in the Marine Corps, I remember a lady who was a minister, and she was very strong. And saying, and basically this is, and she quoted a lot of Proverbs, and I wish I was reading Proverbs back then. I didn't start really reading Proverbs until probably 5 years ago. And I don't want to say I live by Proverbs, but I read a chapter of Proverbs every day. And it's real simple. There's 31 chapters in Today's the 20, is it the 28th?
No, today's the first.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the first. So you read Proverbs 1. And what I love about it is there's no gray area. It's Sam. If you do this, you're a wise man. Sam. If you do this, you're a fool. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to be that lukewarm gray area in the middle there. So that's really how I kind of live my life right now.
Well, I'm glad that you're being so open and transparent, because I think a lot of us out there struggle with challenges, struggle with obstacles, and we think, oh, we gave our life to Christ, and like Lolita said, everything's anew. And it is spiritually, but there's a process that we have to go through to continue that relationship for it to flourish. And that's kind of what you're saying right now, that it was a process, and you had to be in the Word in order to get now where you're at.
We have to be in the Word. All of us have to be in the Word. And I was listening to what's his name? Todd White, I think is his name. And I just listened to him briefly. And he said,
where's he from? Todd White, is he?
I'm not sure where he's from. I just saw him on the
pastor?
Yeah, someone left it on my on the computer, and he said, the reason why we read the Word, this is so cool. The reason why we read the Word is not so we go out and preach to everybody and have it all memorized and we're just Mr. Perfect religious righteousness. It's because we read the Word because this is what the Lord is telling us who we are supposed to be, to become like that person He talks about in the Bible. And I've never heard it put that way before, but that's really what it is. Whatever the Word says, we need to become like that, period, without going around saying, this is who I am. Let's demonstrate to you that.
Well, I wanted to touch on the reason you became a Marine.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the reason that you enlisted? Was it because of your father being in the Army?
Yeah. I mean, my dad was
at that time. Siblings? You have any siblings?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't want to leave them out.
Yeah, I have 2 sisters.
Okay.
Back east, and I had an older brother who passed away when he was. I was 20. He was 21. Wow. Great guy, great athlete. But my dad started in those years, 15, 16. He was, my parents were splitting up, and it left. I didn't know it at the time, but I was a bit rebellious, and so I wanted to. I think I saw a Marine one day. I said, wow, that looks like. That person to me looks like he brings a lot of value to the table. I said, I want to bring value to the table.
Wow.
And
this is when you were 15?
Yeah, 15, 16. And so I joined. I actually joined, got my bus ticket when I was almost 17. My parents had to sign for me. And I think a week earlier, I was on my motorcycle. I got hit by a car. I had to wait almost a year until my leg healed. Boy. And that was a miracle, too, because the doctor said I'd never be able to walk
you're kidding.
Properly. But that was, God had something else to say about that.
Did he sit you down? Because I had a leg injury. He sat me down for 6 months. So,
well, yeah.
So was he talking to you during that time?
Yeah, well, and I don't know at the time,
looking back?
I mean, I know now at my age when I really hear the voice of God, or He uses somebody in my life, especially my wife, or people that we trust, who are saying, we all want to hear how great we're doing. That's good, hey, great work. But we also want people in our lives to say, Sam, or sweetheart, you need to reevaluate your thinking there.
Right.
And I need to hear that. I really do. We don't get enough of that in the entertainment business.
Right, you get a lot of yes people.
We need to hear that. We really need to hear that.
Accountability is what you're talking about.
That's it. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I wanted to touch on your acting. What gave you the acting bug? From being a Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that do that?
Going into acting.
Did you bodybuild too? Look like you lift weights.
Well, I train. I probably train more now at my age than I've ever done because my kids are older and there's a lot of projects in development. And
you gotta let them know, hey, I'm still. Hey,
that's right.
Don't you even think?
Yeah. Well, after the Marine Corps, I played Marine Corps football, and I said, I'm going to go to Seattle. That's where my grandparents were. And I'm going to play for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, there you go.
And somebody said, well, again, maybe you should reevaluate your thinking. Maybe make a few calls first before you just walk on. So I just got a hold of their training manual.
That's great.
They're for camp, and I said, maybe. And let me try out for their farm team. So their little minor league practice team called the Burien Flyers. So I played a season there. I believe that was in 76.
This is even after you had that accident.
I was healed. I was healed.
That's a miracle.
No, I was healed in early. Well, I went in the Marine Corps in June of 72.
Okay.
Basic boot camp. So I was healed. Yeah, I was healed months before that.
All right, so there you go.
But I think it was 76. I'm in Seattle, and I played a season for the Burien Flyers. And, and basically it was just older guys who were angry because they weren't chosen to play in the NFL. So I said, I'm
not that angry.
I started every game, but I'm hurt. I don't really like the pain anymore.
Yeah.
And I read an article about Clint Eastwood, about what he was doing, writing, directing, producing, acting. I said, well, I don't know if I can accomplish that in the 20 years he had already been in, but maybe I could reach part of those goals. So that was my incentive. And one day I'm at Pier 70 in Seattle. People know Pier 70. I believe it's still there. I was a bartender. I was a bouncer. One day I was setting up before anybody was there. A couple bus boys were there, and this guy my age came in. He had a suit like you, Joel, looking sharp. And he was my age,
Dapper.
And these things really stick out when you're that age. And a guy comes in looking, really like he knows what he's talking about, a person of value, as I refer to it. And he ordered a water. I got him a water, and he looked at me. And when he looked at me, he looked right through me. And he said, "What are you going to do with your life?" And I started to tell him how I'm going to.
These people that walk up and
watch
serve
this. Well, wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear this. So I said to him, I was taken back, and I said, well, I'm going to go to Hollywood. I'm going to be an actor. And he looked at me, and he drilled me. He looked right through my soul and in my spirit. He said, well, why don't you just stop talking about it and do it?
Wow.
And he kind of pounded his heart in a subtle way, his mind and his heart. He says, why don't you just stop talking about it and do it? And I was kind of shaken. I went back to get him another water, and I turned around. And guess what? He was not there.
Wow.
I turned to Juan and the other guy, and I said, hey, guys, where's the guy that I just served the water to? You know what their response was? Sam, there's been nobody here all morning but the three of us.
Oh, my
That is a
goodness.
great
You had an
story.
angel.
Yeah, I get chills talking about it, man.
Really?
But, so it was a visiting angel.
Yeah.
And a week later, I went to my grandpa, I think the next day, and I said, hey, Gramps, I want to buy he had a 1968 Dodge Coronet 440. and this was 1976. This was a cool car.
It's still a cool car.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. And I said, I want to go to LA. I want to buy your car. I want to go to LA. And he looked at me and he said, okay, you give me $50 and it's yours. Now it's probably worth $1,000. I don't know what it was worth then. And so what he was basically saying was, I'm blessing you to go. Here's my car. And I went. And I arrived, I was there a week later, 1970, I was 76, 77, 77 had to be, yeah.
Because that was going to be my next question. Did your family support your passion of acting?
About that, yeah.
Were they?
Yeah, my family was pretty much split at that time, so I was.
But your grandfather did support.
Oh, he did. My grand, he did. He did. I mean, there were other people who were saying, well, you really need to have your ducks in a row.
Right, think about it.
And I said, I said, I haven't seen a duck in a long time, but I mean, ducks in a row. I said, there's risk in everything that we attempt to do. And
but what I like about you and what you weren't afraid. I mean, you set your mind to something. Who instilled that, or was that something you feel the Lord did? Was it your father who kind of? You just made up your mind to stuff, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I was inspired, and I wasn't saying at the time, oh, that's a visiting angel.
Right.
But I just knew I was drawn. This is where I had to go.
Yeah, but even with the Marines too.
Yeah, I must say I wanted this young lady, this young Italian lady. I wanted to marry her.
Oh, okay.
And her parents said no, and I said why, and they said you're too unstable.
Wow.
And so, of course, I wasn't happy about that.
It lit a fire.
It lit a fire. Mm-hmm. It lit a fire, and that fire, I felt that this visiting angel was the icing on the cake, and it was time. And as the years went on, this was a lesson learned for a lot. It's a lesson learned even to this day for me and for men. If we're going to do something, let's just stop talking about it. You know, as my buddy would say, knock off the baby talk, get over yourself, and just do it.
Well, that's what Lolita would tell me that in a different way. She would say, just suit up and show up.
Yeah, there you go.
It's my mantra. You know what? You just sometimes have to suit up and show up.
That's right.
But I did want to touch on what obstacles did you face in becoming an actress? You come to LA.
Yeah, went to LA,
and you're 440. And what do you find?
Dutch Cornet 440.
With no ducks.
Yeah, no, but you had to get a job. You know, I'm working. I'm a waiter. I'm doing this or whatever I can. And the challenges were, well, since I had not spent time in Hollywood yet, I'd been there.
Yeah, you've been in Seattle.
I'd not been tainted by Hollywood yet.
Yeah, okay.
There was no good or bad press to read. It was, I went there on this testosterone and this spirit leading me, which maybe I wasn't really identifying that it was the Holy Spirit. And nobody could tell me no. I'm a Marine, you know. Nobody could tell me no.
You need that.
I go to these, you know. I would, then I would start. I knew I had to train. I had to be in a scene study class or a improvisational class, which I did. And then you get you get agents and managers to come in. And next thing you knew, within I don't know a couple of months, I'm represented, and I'm out doing auditions. So when I went into an audition, even in the beginning, even now, from those early 37 years ago till now, I never look at it as there's competition in the room. And this is nothing arrogant. I never thought of anybody as my competition. I only looked at it, if they want Sam Jones, they're going to get Sam Jones.
Right. That's right.
If they want this other guy, they're going to get him. So I always thought
they have a way. They know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're not good or whatever. I like that.
And I wasn't. And again, I went in there after it, and saying that. Well, but this is Sam. I'm going to get this part. You know. And sure enough, I started getting my early jobs. A little bit part here, a bit part there. And nobody could tell me different. I got the part. It led to something bigger. And then I think later on in my bigger parts, when I started reading about, that great performance that Sam Jones did, well, then also I was reading, he did terrible.
Yeah, right.
And I just said, I'm not going to read anymore. So being tainted a little bit came in. And when you start to listen to the press, good or bad, it starts to take you away from your roots, from the person
from the passion,
your purpose, where God has sent you.
Well, I wanted to touch on that.
Very good, yeah.
I wanted to touch on that because you got your film debut appearance on a Blake Edwards comedy film, 10, opposite Bo Derek.
That's correct. Yeah,
tell us about the part.
Yeah, Bo Derek was an unknown at the time, of course, but the people who were icons were Blake Edwards, who directed all the Pink Panther series with Peter Sellers, and of course Julie Andrews
his wife,
was iconic, and she was in it, and then of course Dudley Moore was a big UK star, and I used that. It was wonderful. I think I had one line of dialogue in the entire movie. But I used that because that actually led, and Blake Edwards, he was incredible. He knew I had an audition with Dino De Laurentiis. We were filming in Mexico, and he knew I had to be back in L.A. to meet with Dino De Laurentiis for this movie called Flash Gordon. and he sent the helicopter to pick me up on this island to take me to Honolulu Airport to fly back in time to LAX to meet Dino De Laurentiis. And Dino asked me, he said, and this leads in, he said, well, what are you doing? I said, I didn't tell him I'm a bit part. I said, I'm doing a movie with Blake Edwards and Julie Andrews and W. Moore. He said, really? I said, yeah, now, we're filming, so it's not out yet. He didn't know I had a little bit part. And so that was impressive, you see.
Well, hey, listen, to get that
That's
part,
credibility.
It's hard to even get that, isn't it, in Hollywood? Right.
But then you auditioned with him.
With Dino. Yes.
And
what was
you got
that like?
the part.
It was a long process, Joel. It was a long process. I think from the first time I met him, maybe 8, 9, 10 months, really.
Wow.
And then he flew me to London. But everything was secretive. He'd take you in one door, and you go in, meet with him, and you'd exit another door because the people behind you were, people. I was told years later, because I didn't know at the time, Kurt Russell and then Arnold was there as well.
Kurt Russell,
I didn't
Arnold.
know. And then you're in England, and he's putting you through this old-fashioned Hollywood screen test. 30 days of on film. Dyeing the hair blonde, trying to turn your eyes blue. Back then, it was the hard contact lens where you couldn't even see.
Yeah, the hard lenses.
The hard lenses, to fitness, to everything. And then and I found out 30 days later that, okay,
well, what were you feeling going through all that? Was it like nerve-wracking?
It was probably the most
or not?
nerve-wracking out of anything I've ever done. It really was. Because my character, I want to know.
Yeah.
Sam, it's either a yes or no. Don't drag it on.
That's what
Don't drag it on and on. And I've gotten in trouble over the years for saying, hey, Sam, they want you to go back for a fourth time. I said, no. You tell them make a decision now. And that's worked in my favor, and sometimes it's backfired
against you.
I just want to hear yes or no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you do know. I was wondering about that, what people go through. That's probably why people drink and do everything else.
Well, there's a lot of that. Yeah, I did my partying, before.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to touch on, because after Flash Gordon became a cult sensation,
yes,
that film was just, everybody knows Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
What was your life after that? Because that took you to another level.
It's funny you
and
say
that.
Life after Flash, too. Right?
And that's what I'm going to
be a good title, right?
Everybody knows I want to hear when the wife comes in too. So
part. Okay. Well, I was a bit of I loved the Lord in my early years, but I wasn't serving Him. So my first marriage it just lasted a few years.
Was that the Italian girl?
No.
No, her father. Okay, you never got the girl.
No.
Oh, Flash. Okay.
No, you're talking about in Flash.
No, I'm talking about your life. I remember that you said there was an Italian girl that you wanted to marry, and her father said no.
Oh yes, yeah. No, that was earlier. That was
okay.
What was I? was 23, I think, at the time.
Okay, okay.
No, that was a no, and a no meant no.
All
so
right.
But it's a good point, because after the father said no, I went back to her. I said, "Let's go," and she said, "Well, what did my dad say?" He said no. And she said, well, I can't go with you then.
Wow.
So that's when that was another incentive that catapulted me out of Seattle and to LA.
Okay.
But yeah, no, so
you hit this big...
I met a great lady in Hollywood, and we got married a few years later. We had 2 great kids. I had two older kids, a 31-year-old son, Matthew, and a 26-year-old daughter, Kaylin, who's getting married August the 7th.
Yay,
well,
congratulations.
Yeah,
and they're both in the ministry, her and her fiance.
See, I want to get all that in there, because there's a lot going on. That's awesome.
So, but I've been married to Ramona now for 23 years.
Yay, Ramona.
Because I had to learn to get over myself.
Okay, Ramona.
So my first marriage did not work out because of me.
Okay.
And my rebellion and my stubbornness. And men, if you're listening out there, it can't be all about us, all about you, all about me. And this really unique thing happens.
I like that.
Men, if we serve our wives first, guess what? This magical thing happens. We get anything we want, anytime we want.
That's the
But if we try to put us first,
Exactly.
we don't get anything at any time. Okay, so that's how it works, man, and it's wonderful.
That's the secret
okay,
right there.
It's for our marriage ministry.
Yeah. So I had to throw that in, Joel.
I think it's good.
But life after Flash, it's been wonderful.
But now he wants to go to Flash because he wants to hear. I want to hear about Flash.
No, the ride. Yeah. You're up on top. You just do
people want to hear
Flash.
all of this. This is important.
Yeah, I've had a huge fan base with my age group, 60 and under, and then our children, whatever, 40 and under. And now, because of the TED franchise, now we have this brand new age demographic where those kids in their 20s who had never seen Flash Gordon. So now we have my age, our kids, and our children's children. It's unique. I'll have people come up and get an autograph or a picture, and it's those three generations.
That's so cool. Isn't that great?
And they're with one another. It's amazing.
And I wanted to touch on
grandpa,
Is that
son,
the
grandson.
one
It's amazing.
with Mark Wahlberg, that teddy bear?
Yes, so I wanted to touch on that because you made appearances on over 50 films and numerous television shows after that. But you made your comeback and got moviegoers' attention in your cameo as an off-the-wall parody of yourself in the film Ted, which is the #1 original R-rated comedy.
R-rated comedy of all time. Yeah, they call it
directed by Seth MacFarlane.
Yes, the category is the category is the #1 original R-rated comedy of all time at the box office, which is crazy because R-rated and it was a very unique thing because at this age, he called me a couple of years ago. And he said, Sam Jones. I said, yeah, who's this? He said, Seth MacFarlane. I said, who are you? I knew. Everybody knows.
Right.
But I didn't know. I did not know. I knew he was famous because of Family Guy, The American Dad, and The Cleveland Show. But I did not know that is a billion, with a B, $1 billion franchise.
Wow.
I did not know. But he proceeded to tell me, he said, Sam, at 8 years old, I saw you in Flash Gordon. Wow. It changed my life.
Kidding?
I knew I wanted to be a creative type guy. I said, well, you've kind of gone over the top, Seth, with your comedy, but you have. And he said, look, I've got this project called Ted, and I want you to come on board. I said, well, give me the script, and we tweaked it a little bit, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And it's opened up a lot of doors for me. It's wonderful. It's kickstarted my film career again. I really believe it has.
And I wanted to mention that there's a sequel, Ted 2, that you're also
yes, it'll be out June 26th.
Oh my goodness!
And then now we have there's a UK company who's come on board who wants to do a documentary. We're doing a documentary called Life After Flash, and the concept is really cool. It's basically and we're going to interview Seth. We're going to bring him in, but it's basically what Seth said. It's the impact that Flash Gordon had, the character Flash Gordon had on the world before the movie, and of course the impact and influence that myself and Flash Gordon the movie has had and has on the world after the movie was released.
Well, you can't give us a taste of that right now.
Well, it's basically, what we talked about when we talked earlier about when we prayed about having a platform. This is the first time that I've had a platform, an unrestricted platform
there you go.
To talk about, and that's what the documentary. They're going to shadow me and follow me wherever I go.
That's awesome.
And we kicked it off in Laredo, Texas, at the Comic-Con there. We're going to go I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to Mexico City. Wow. I'm going to Germany. I'm going to Sweden. We're going all over the country and the projects. And we have a couple other. We have a reality show based on I also run, as you know, security operations in Mexico and other high-risk environments. So we're going to, and that's hard to do a television show based on protecting somebody from kidnapping and assassination. And it had to be the right fit, and I think we found it. I had a producer who came to me who said, hey, let's do this show. And I've turned down a lot of people. I said our jefe, our boss, does not want to be seen on camera.
Hello.
He said, well, if we can, if we can, he said, I tell you what, how about the concept, if the executives from the network wants to be seen on camera, I said, then I have no problem with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Did they
and
do
we'll
it?
treat it just, we're starting, we've already shot the sizzle reel, and now we have a network who wants to do it, and we're good to go. And then we have another, they're also developing another series, a comedy drama, and we're taking that. We just finished the
let's
script.
talk about that after this commercial break.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. We're here with Sam J. Jones, Flash Gordon. When we come back, we're going to hear more about his project. This is Joy in My House, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm Joel Ramierz.
And I'm Lolita Robinson Coppage, and welcome to Joy in My House
on LATalkLive.com. Inspirational radio
with a touch of recovery.
A reality show where nothing is left unsaid
and no one is insignificant who says it.
Exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, I'm Ro Williams, and I would like to invite you to join GospelRhythms.com live every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our new show, Gospel Rhythms Talk Live. Join us as we celebrate, promote, and elevate Christians in entertainment. So don't forget to tune in to Gospel Rhythms Talk Live exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio under R&B or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is Gospel Rhythms on LA Talk Live, where we don't just talk about it, we are about it.
Okay. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery, a reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid
and no one is insignificant. Let's keep on this ride.
I'm joined here by my co-host Lolita Robinson,
okay,
and our in-studio guest Sam J. Jones.
I'm having a good time.
Known
Sam
as the Flash, Flash Gordon.
I was sleepy till I got here with you. I'm so energized. I can do anything now.
Well, it seems like you're doing quite a bit and you have amazing projects on the works, but I wanted to touch on some of your accolades because you've done some amazing things and received amazing awards. You received an award for your civic and humanitarian service, your Citizen of the Year presented by the California State Senate and the County of Los Angeles, and your Outstanding Achievement Award in the entertainment industry presented by the Southern California Motion Picture Council.
Wow, Sam, that's
Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, you're giving back now. You're being of service.
Yeah. Well, I mean, years ago, I've always been involved in the youth foundations. We started out, I was the national spokesperson for the John Rossi Youth Foundation out of Santa Monica.
Yes.
And, of course, then it...
was it like drug reach out programs?
Yeah. I mean, John Rossi has been an icon in LA for years. We've been out of contact for many, many years. But he's been helping the youth primarily in Santa Monica. Matter of fact, we put on, I think in the early 80s, we put on a huge softball event when Mr. T was iconic.
Yeah, man.
And
Flash and Mr. T.
I had Michael Jackson confirmed for the event at a softball field in Santa Monica. But at the last second he had an emergency. But I had Mr. T that came, and he was incredible.
Oh, I know.
And then I got this call from this very young actor who said, "Hey, I want to be part of your event because I heard you're helping the kids." And this was an unknown actor at the time. I said, "What is your name?" He said, "Michael J. Fox." And we said, "Well, we don't know you. Wait, but come on out anyway." You know?
Well, he had your chutzpah. He said, "I want to be on there."
But it was great, and that led to other things. But this courageous Citizen of the Year came about, by the Senate and I think the Sheriff's Department, Police Department, the Mayor's office, because one day, just a normal citizen like me, I witnessed an armed robbery, and they were by this gang, and I followed them in my vehicle. They didn't know I was following them, and I got their plate number, and I turned it in, and I ran back to the place that they robbed, and the police came, and I said, "You have to," I said, "this car, this plate, this is not a stolen car." He said, "Hey, I've been on the force 20 years. Don't tell me. Believe me." I said, "I'm telling you right now, if it was a stolen car, they would have parked right in front of the place of business they robbed. But they parked 2 blocks away to hide that plate number.
The car.
I'm telling you, if you run this plate, you're going to get the bad guys." And long story short, they got the bad guys the same day. And these 2 guys were bad guys. They were gang members, and they were on a rampage for a year, pistol whipping people, killing people, et cetera, et cetera. So when it came time to testify, I was told and received threats that, hey, don't do this, well, otherwise you're going to hurt your family. And I prayed about it and I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. This is my city, okay? Wow. This is my community. And I'm not going to be moved by any threats.
Right.
I said, these guys, God bless them. Hopefully they'll turn around. The Lord will touch their lives, but they're going to go away. They're going to pay for their consequences right now. And I went to court and I testified, and that was back in '94. Wow. And I even told them in court, the judge said, stop, or whatever he said. He said, that's it. But I turned to both guys. Instead of, cursing them or saying bad guys, I said, hey, what you did is wrong. You know that, but you know what? The Lord, if you call out to him, his hand is upon you. And there's a better way, and hopefully he'll reveal himself to you, and you could turn from your ways. And the judge said, that's enough. That's enough now, okay? But I think one guy got 50 years, the other guy got 35, and they were young.
So that's how the humanitarian.
So that's how that came about, and then of course for my projects in the movie business, the Motion Picture Council, all that, went on. And then of course with our local church, we had the Loving Life Foundation.
Yeah, how did the Lord?
Yeah, we have a church in San Diego called the City Church San Diego.
Okay.
And we're a big part of that, and we help a lot of churches. We feed the homeless, and that comes under lovinglifefoundation.org.
Well, how did the Lord start working in your life, bringing you into a personal walk with him? Because I know you accepted him in the Marines when you were 17.
There's a lady that a lot of people know in the business. Her name is Terry Copley. And in 1990, she looked at me and a couple other guys who loved God, but we were not serving him.
Right.
And she looked at us and she said, why don't you guys knock off the nonsense?
Oh, no, she didn't.
And looked right at us on a public forum with other friends and said, why don't you just knock off the nonsense and give your lives back to the Lord? And I looked at her and I said, that's a very good idea. I looked at my buddy, and then my other buddy goes, that's a very good idea. Thank you, Terry. And we did that. So we recommitted our lives to the Lord in 1990, and next thing you knew, we had our own men's group going on.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Once a week.
You guys still doing it?
And we were all praying for our godly wives. And boom, within a short period of time.
Would you pray for him, please?
Yeah. I'm waiting. We had our wives, man. I'm telling you, a whole group of men.
I hear that all the time. Praying for wives. And to be honest with you, I'm waiting for God.
I'm praying for you for a good wife too.
He'll do it in his time.
Right.
And I don't think I'm ready. I think he's still developing.
Cool.
I'm still in the process.
I'm your mama bear. I'm gonna get you a wife. No, but this is beautiful. You have. I don't want to. You got a lot to cover, but I liked it about the men getting together and praying.
I think that's so important that men. Iron sharpens iron. Right. And I think it's so important, especially as men, that we come together as men and support one another, love one another, because I think a lot of men tend to be a little distant, a little detached emotionally. So I think it's an amazing thing.
I live by what you should not do on Proverbs 18, and this is my number one scripture on. I think and Proverbs 18:1 says, "A man." I'm going to use man. It says a person. I'm going to say a man who isolates himself seeks his own desire, and he rages against all wise judgment.
Say that again. Say that again.
A man who isolates himself, who separates himself, who just wants to be by himself because I don't need anybody else. Okay, just let me get on my own because I'm tired. I'm tired of everybody else. I'm tired of them in the church. Ask me to come to church, to come into Bible study. I'm sick and tired of this. But a man who does that, he's seeking his own desire. And he rages. He just doesn't get a little upset. He rages against anybody trying to come to him and say, hey, no, it's wisdom for you to hang out with the guys, you see. Well, I was like that guy.
That's powerful.
And, you could be patronizing and it can also be raging at the same time.
Right.
But, yeah, I was, men, and hopefully you got that. It took me a lot of years to really get a hold of that. But we were designed and created for groups, okay? That's why, for communion. And to be on our own, unless we're praying and fasting and we're hearing the voice of God every single day, we really need to be, with our wives if we're married. We need to be with a group of men. Accountability. Thank you for that. It is accountability. Even if you're plugged into your local church, the thing that keeps our marriage going is that once a week home group.
Yeah, I love mine. You said a lot, Sam. You said a mouthful.
Yeah. And I wanted to touch on that because you're married, have 5 children.
Yes, 5.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And now that's next is Life After Flash.
Yeah, that's
Life
right.
After
Life
Flash.
After Flash. Yeah.
God has given you a well-rounded life. It really has. Congratulations to you.
It's been a blessing, and at 60,
You look great.
I'm so excited about the next great adventures. I really am, and I don't say that just for wishful thinking. Oh, those are kind words, or I'm just making me feel better. Here's the deal. I've told the Lord. I got a couple buddies in the film entertainment, and they're on fire for the Lord as well. But when we tell the Lord, if you really want me in this business to be used effectively in building your kingdom, then you got to show me. You got to make it clear. And all this other, I got to be careful what I say, but all this other nonsense about, well, maybe. No, you know what? Man, we gotta know that God has called us in this business. And anybody out there, male or female, that's looking to be in the entertainment business, don't do it by hypothetics or maybe. You need to know that God has placed you there. Mm-hmm. You got to know. Otherwise, it's going to be. There's enough challenges. There's enough challenges out there, just living the life as a believer. But that's really the edge. The edge in the film and entertainment business, music business, is knowing that we have the edge because our living God is on our side, and He's moving us into situations where we're not just going to get by, but we are going to have great success.
Wow.
Come on, man. Come on.
Wow.
So, well, the show is coming to a close.
I think he already said
We like to ask this of all our guests.
Nice. Yeah.
The name of the show is called Joy in My House, the joy that we have in the midst of our challenges, struggles, in the midst of our praise.
Yeah.
So, Sam, I got to ask you, what does joy in my house mean to you in today's day and age?
Well, that's one of His number one words to us, and well, actually, I would say it's an instruction. The joy of the Lord is our strength. So I look at that as we need to be obedient. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't really feel like it. I heard a sports psychologist. I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but he nailed it. He was talking to my 15-year-old son, his varsity baseball team, and I was there to listen, and he said, feeling great 100% is all the time is overrated. Mm. Sometimes feeling just a little less crappy is enough to get us to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish.
That's right.
So, but joy, I mean, that's we got to be obedient to that. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Amen. Okay, so we need to have some joy. Maybe it's not going to be, I feel 100%. No, maybe it's not going to be, I feel 100% joyful. Yeah, but maybe just a little bit of joy that.
That's right.
That's enough. He doesn't say full joy. He says the joy of the Lord is our strength. So that's our strength, man. That's our strength.
Wow.
Ladies, come on.
I didn't have
So knock off the baby talk. Knock off the baby talk. Stop complaining, okay, and just get joyful.
Amen.
Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. I want to thank Sam J. Jones for coming on the show.
Wow.
Watch his film, comes out.
And at lifeafterflash.com, they can get all the Twitter, all the Facebook.
Perfect.
Lifeafterflash.com. Gives you everything.
And the film Ted 2 comes out June 26th.
Yeah,
June 26th.
Very good, Joel.
This is Joy in My House. I want you guys to catch us live every Sunday. Here, live at noon on WWW LA Talk Live with in-studio guests with life-changing stories of hope, faith, and talent that will inspire you. Our next guest is Jackie Priestley, evangelist and book author. You're not going to want to miss. This is Joy in My House, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have a blessed day.
Am I so far from you, Lord? Is my life in your plan? Where can I run when I feel all alone? Do my words truly reach you high on your throne? Where did your presence